All right, everybody. Hello and welcome to the Superman Anime Episode 3 review. It is Hassan and myself today, and we are going to be reviewing My Adventures of Superman. I'm going to look up the name of the episode. I tried to have it prepared. I wasn't prepared, but it is my interview with Superman. This is a much slower episode compared to the first two. There weren't too many fights, really. There was some action, but not too many fights, but most of it was based around the classic Lois Lane wants to interview Superman and is going tremendously out of her way to do it, and Clark is trying to figure out how to do an interview with Lois Lane, who he has heard say, I want to take his secrets and publish them for the world.
It was so funny because I didn't feel like watching this. This was like the last thing I watched last night. And I enjoyed it the first time I watched it, but I really wasn't like, oh man, I need to know what happens next. I need a cliffhanger. It was just like kind of a show. And then as soon as I put it on, I was like enthralled by it. And also like, for those of you who don't know, I'm not reviewing Secret Invasion or any of the current striked products and stuff, because I am somebody who wants to be a member of both the WGA and SAG-AFTRA at some point in my career. So I can't cross picket lines. Animation doesn't fall under that. So this is like the only thing that I'm still reviewing that's actively coming out for the next. Yeah, that's what. Well, yeah. It's so funny because we talked about it, and then I listened to Benny and Sal explain why I wasn't on the Secret Invasion review, and they were just like, he didn't want to be on it because he didn't like the show. And I was like, that's untrue entirely. He just skipped the part where it's like, yeah, I just don't want to cross a picket line here. I don't want to scab, so I'm not doing that.
Never give Benny your voice when you're not there to defend yourself. I'm just tell you right now.
It wasn't consensual. He took my voice from my body. Weird way to say that. But the show, like, immediately I was watching it, and it's a good show to watch with your girlfriend. It's like a good show to watch with like people who like happy things. The character designs are so cute. Lois is so tiny next to Superman.
I have been seeing so many people are saying that this is their preferred Lois Lane in the animated series of Superman. And I'm like, yeah, I could see it. Like this, like
I'll give it to you.
Yeah, she like it's a cute design, but it's also like the character just has so much energy and just very, very good. I like it. The more that I watch it, the more I think this should be a Cartoon Network and not an Adult Swim show, though.
I mean, it was made for Cartoon Network, and then it went to Adult Swim. So it's
like,
not like
because this would honestly be a great kids show. Like this would enthrall a new generation of Superman fans because it hits like that style that a lot of kids shows are. It's got action, it's not boring, and it's not like dirty for no reason. And
yeah, and
I love it.
I think you're right, and I think that's what it will be, because most people don't watch Adult Swim anyways. Who owns network cable? They're watching this on Max. Like, that's where everybody's watching it. And I don't know if it's in the kids content section of Max. I could check that out later, because maybe it just falls under that, because it really was just like,
I mean, it is TV PG, but
it's TV PG. Yeah, I mean, it's really cutesy. It's funny because they introduced a whole gaggle of villains this episode, and most of them, if not all of them, were villains that appeared on the Supergirl TV show in the first season, which is really interesting. Like Livewire and Shaban or whatever being like Banshee. They're both direct pulls from season 1 of Supergirl, and they even became like they did like a crossover. The very first Flash Supergirl crossover episode was against Livewire and Shaban, and the girl who plays Shaban actually she married the guy who plays Ronnie Raymond in the CW shows. Fun little tidbit. That's his wife. And she was really fun on that show for like the very short amount of time she was on it. So it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun that we're like bringing these D tier, kind of maybe even E tier, F tier kind of characters, because you don't want to like blow your load with like Toyman and Darkseid and Lex Luthor, and they're slow playing it. That's cool.
Yeah, I really like that. I mean, that's a great point. They're doing a good job of giving you villains that can do stuff, but aren't so high up that it becomes okay, how do we go bigger than this? Like, how do we fight? Like, they started with robots, and it was like, that is perfect. Now you're moving to like you said, D, F tier villains. So it's like, okay, cool. We're seeing the evolution so that when he does fight against Toyman and he loses, it's like, okay, well, he struggled against robots. I can see why he would lose in his first bout against this guy. I will say, and I thought this while I was watching, I'm very glad that the Sailor Moon transformation seems to have been a one-time thing when he first got the suit and is not going to be a recurring thing.
You wouldn't have enjoyed him randomly flying off and then powering up? Maybe. You don't know, Dan. Because like,
I would have much preferred a Wonder Woman. He spins around Sid's place and that is in his costume.
That would have been cool. Maybe they could have just done a bunch of different ones, right? I really would like if they kept doing the anime ones. Eventually, he does like a Super Saiyan one. Say more, and he's like, and they turn into
be funny.
Super Saiyan, Superman. Like that's so dope. Cool. I also think there's one thing about this show that's really fun. It just genuinely isn't. It is not traditional. So you get to just kick back and not have to be like, well, this isn't their origin in the comics, which is like kind of a bummer for a lot of these shows where it's like they'll do a much more lackluster origin story than like what an adaptation has done. In this one, I can really suspend belief like fully.
I feel like they've differentiated themselves enough that I don't feel like they're trying to do the comic book stuff, so I don't directly compare it with the comic book stuff. Like I as weird as that is, like CW, when they would do some of like the events of Crisis on Infinite Earths, immediately you go, okay, I have a direct comparison to compare this in terms of what they do and stuff like that. Whereas the Superman, so like they've already been like, nope, completely different from the comics. It's just the same character. All right, let's do this. And I think that's a great way to do it. I will say this show feels like it's probably going to be better as like a bingeable when all the episodes are available, because
I actually think that's right. The episodes are really short, but it's because we're like an older audience, and maybe this is like the right amount of television per week for a child.
Right.
For me, it's like I need 10 episode batches of this stuff.
Right.
I also want to say that we say the term Sailor Moon transformation. Sailor Moon's obviously not the only anime transformation thing. Like Sal equated to that. Sal also threw out a line that I thought was really funny, where he's like, "Only Sailor Moon has a Sailor Moon transformation." And it's like, no, it's in every anime. Like even Dragon Ball has like specifically Sailor Moon in the Tournament of Power. There's like a whole set of characters that do that, and that is direct homage to Sailor Moon. But lots of people do like little moments where like clothes appear on them, whatever. Like Kingdom Hearts has some Sailor Moon transformations.
But it's always the Sailor Moon is when their body loses all detail, they spin around, and pieces of gear just magically appear on their body until they're in the full suit and they're right there.
Power Rangers does it a lot. Power Rangers did versions of it too, where it's like their body lights up and then all of a sudden it's morphin' time, whatever the deal would be with it. Also, the tech-based villains instead of superpowered villains, they're all tech-based. No one has had a power yet, which is cool because it's a very young world, and it's like you could slowly introduce those elements rather than like right into the deep end of the pool with it, which is more often than not Superman. Now we've been getting a lot of Superman in the middle of his adaptation rather than at the beginning. It's kind of a fun change of pace, go backwards a little bit.
Yeah. No, I think this show has a lot of potential, and I think it's already doing very, very well. I hope that it does well enough that it either sees another season or we see more shows in this version of the DC universe. I'll be honest. Like, I think it'd be kind of cool if they connected it with some of the other anime projects already. Because my head, as we were talking about them not having powers, I was thinking, okay, well, what if they brought in Batman eventually? And I thought about it. I'm like, they already have done an anime Catwoman.
Yeah.
What if they tried to put these in like the same universe?
And I think that's where the thing would fall apart. Not because you're not right, not because it's not an incredible idea, but people at Warner Brothers and DC aren't very good at cohesion. They're not very good at unit storytelling unless it's one showrunner. And the only reason Young Justice is as tight of a ship as it is as far as like narrative continuity is because it is one show with one showrunner. And the question is like, okay, could you get, Greg Weisman, for instance, from that show to showrun multiple shows at once? I don't know. because then it becomes a more daunting process, and it's like
Right.
it's a lot to undertake. Like the only person who's doing it in Marvel is Kevin Feige, and let's not pretend there's not glaring issues in continuity at Marvel, right? With like random things here and there are huge issues of continuity.
Right.
So yeah, it'd be
Well,
cool to have like a universe of DC anime shows. That'd be so much fun. I don't know if it's possible.
I guess I should more say I don't want them to make like a universe where everything's connected. I think it would be more fun if there were just more cameos, like that
Yeah.
kind of crossover where it's just simply, hey, what the heck's Catwoman doing in Metropolis? Superman's dealing with it. All right, she's gone. Cool. One episode, fun little thing. Maybe we'll see the Harley Quinn and or Joker that are going to be in their isekai thing, just like driving in the background or something. Like small things like that,
Yeah.
I always enjoy.
Yeah.
When
And
it
maybe
comes
they'll
to
build, maybe
animation
they'll
'cause
build
it's
it like
easier.
within the show. Like forget about like really leaning. Maybe it's like you're exactly right. They'll like introduce him to a Justice League at some point, but it's not about the league at all. It's just about him.
Yeah.
Which like Jack Quaid's performance in this is so fun. He's really
He's-
good. And he's great as Huey and the boys. He's a Nepo baby, but he's one we forgive because we love him so much. And he honestly is so talented and he's so funny.
Oh, is he Dennis Quaid's son?
Yeah.
I never made that connection, to be honest. And like,
Yeah.
only when you said that, I was like, that's why I recognize the name. Okay.
Yeah, I only learned about it during like the whole kerfuffle of like, you know, the popularity of like hating on Nepo babies that happened last year. He's also Meg Ryan's son, Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan's kid, which they're both incredibly successful actors. But he's really fun. He's super fun. I love his Superman. I love the one of my favorite moments of the show is where he's like, okay, now you be Superman, and I'm gonna interview you. Hello, Miss Lane. Nora Comden Clark. Hello, Miss Lane. Like that was so funny that he almost just exposed himself immediately.
Yeah.
Because just
I laughed at that part too, because it was just such a fun moment. Because yeah, if he pretended to be Superman, he would be Superman. That's what it is.
yeah.
But I mean, anything else you wanted to say? I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
Obviously, we can't really talk a whole bunch. It's only 23 minutes or so. So
23 minutes, and also like it isn't like a meat and potatoes kind of show. It's very much a side dish, if you know what I mean. Like it's a great side order of mashed potatoes, but it is not a steak. You know, like there's not much to discuss, and it's not supposed to be. It's definitely meant for a younger audience to like get their little nugget of Superman and walk away, which is great. But yeah, that does lead us to maybe smaller reviews. So maybe we'll discuss doing 2-episode batches or something like that. Maybe we'll keep doing singular episodes. So we'll have to see. But it's pretty good. I think anime edgelord, anime Pretty Boy Deathstroke is really funny, and I mean like it's silly, and I don't necessarily like that design for Deathstroke, but because it's the show, I don't really care either.
it fits.
Yeah,
Like
it does.
that's the thing, is like some of these, it's like that looks weird, but it fits with everything else in the show. So I guess
Exactly.
it'll grow on me, hopefully. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. If you enjoyed this review of episode 3 of My Adventures with Superman, I believe. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to let us know in the comments down below so that we can keep doing this. Let us know if you want us to do it on a single issue base, if you want us to do it in batches, stuff, anything like that, let us know. He is Hassan. I don't know which side he's on. He is Hassan. I am Tan, and we will catch you all next time.